What's up, soccer citizens? Danny Brams here. It is a wonderful week here in Charlotte. Another day in paradise, as a wise man once told me very recently. And that wise man was Philip Poole. He said that great quotation as we were talking in the pre show. And welcome to another edition of Soccer City with Philip Poole, making his third appearance this season on the show, fourth overall in the history of your time as Carolina Ascent head coach. And, Coach, you got the team playing really well. We're doing this episode because you are playing for a championship this weekend, and you have the chance to bring the title home to Carolina, to Charlotte, win the second ever USL Super League Championship. It's got to feel good. You're on a 7-match win streak, won 11 of the last 12, unbeaten since you started coming on the show. The win streak, I keep repeating it over and over again, the win streak is tied to win the appearances on Soccer City, the visits to Soccer City started, and you're making another one today. Welcome, Philip Poole.
Thanks for having us, Brams. You know what? I think we should get a residency going here. If this really is the reason behind this, then let's do this daily.
Yeah, I mean, it can't hurt. It can't hurt the numbers. There's a lot of excitement and vibe for Carolina Ascent. I think last time we talked was ahead of the season finale, the last home match. You went on the road for the playoff win. We're going to talk about that in a minute. But just quickly, what were your thoughts on that last home match? And did you get the vibe and crowd that everyone was looking for? The scenes I saw looked pretty good.
Yeah, it was great. Great crowd, energetic crowd, really good night. Just a great night for everyone in the stadium. Good result too. I think we played well. It went 1-0 down early, but came back and probably could have scored a couple of more. So great way to cap off the season. Great way to go into the playoffs. Yeah, I think overall it was a great day, and I think the crowd had a great time too.
Yeah, and that was, correct me if I'm wrong, that was against Sporting Jacksonville, right? And then you so you played them at home the last day of the season, beat them. Then you go to their place for the semifinal playoff match to face them. And it's a great goal early in the match, and then you hold on for the win. Tell me a little bit about this goal, mate. Let's break down the goal and watch it a few times until they kick us off YouTube for copyright. But this is beautiful from the whole team, and Mackenzie George with the finish. It comes off a throw, and this has got to feel good as a coach to see your team just rolling down the field like this, like an unstoppable machine.
Yeah, you know what? It's very much by design, right? We're a good team in transition. Mackenzie George is a nightmare to play against, and just getting turned on a sideline and running at a team, she's dangerous. And you see Riley Parker get beyond her, and it's not just Mackenzie George in the box. You know, we're 4 against 2 at one point, so really good, high-powered, energetic, kind of into the box, and great way to start the game off. And we actually hit the bar before then, we hit the bar after then, so started the game really strong.
Yeah, and if it wasn't Mackenzie, then someone else was going to finish it, right? Because like you said, you had numbers in the box, and you just really took it to him, went on the road, got your goal, and then held on. Thanks to great defense and a great defensive performances you've had all throughout this win streak. And I want to talk about your goalkeeper in a moment, but first I want to do a quick shout out because the league did recognize several Ascent players, 2 all-league first-teamers. Friend of the show, Jill Aguilera, who's been here, a visit to Soccer City herself. Your captaining from the fullback position, which is really cool. She made the first team. Sydney Studer, Mackenzie herself made the all-second team, I believe. Right, she's on the graphic there. But where is Sydney Martinez, Coach? Because she has some amazing numbers. Held on for a clean sheet on the road in the playoffs. And I'm showing here on the screen her recent SOFA score ratings throughout all this win streak, and I just see clean sheet, and just big performance. How come Sydney Martinez can't get all Super League first team, Coach? What happened?
Yeah, listen, Sydney's played in the last 12 games, and I think 8 shutouts in those games, and done really well. And you stack her stats up against players that have played 25, 26 games. If you give Sydney 25 or 26 games in this form, I think she blows it out of the water. So Sydney's done great, coming to the team at a good time, been a huge part of it, being an absolute professional behind the scenes every day. So she deserves the spotlight she's getting. But I agree with you, Rams. I think she's certainly right now playing some of the best football she's played.
Yeah, it's got to feel good knowing that you can win 1-0 if you need to. Now you go up against Lexington, a club that you have a little bit of history with, some battles. The first few matches in the early days of Super League were 1-1 draws. As I was looking through some of the history, you do have a 4-1 win over a 4-0 win, I believe, over Lexington on your chart as well. But it's been some tight, all 1-goal matches this year, this season. And what are you looking at in this matchup coming up for a title?
Yeah, look, I think Lexington, they're a good club, right? Like they have a men's team doing great. They have a women's team doing great. They've built their own stadium, soccer specific stadium. They've built their own training ground and their own youth complex. They have a connected youth academy. So, in terms of the landscape of where we're at in the growth of non MLS soccer, like a club like Lexington Sporting Club are doing a really good job. So they're always going to be well coached. They've got good players. There's a narrative out there that's probably not true. Last season they finished bottom of the league. But they went out and they retooled this whole team. Almost everybody. I don't know. I think they may have one or two returners out of 25. So they went out, they bought experience, they brought some experienced players in and they've done well, scored some goals, been tough to break down at times. So I think the reason I talk about the club as a whole is when a club's run well, from top to bottom, you generally get a good product on the field as well. And I think that's what we'll see from them.
Yeah, I'm looking at some matchup stats here on the screen now, Coach, and some top performers. You look at some of their best SOFA score rated performances here throughout the season. We're looking at Catherine Berry, the forward, and what really jumps out at me is just the goals scored. Like you said, they're scoring tons of goals, 52 on the season. They have only conceded 24, so looking pretty strong. They have 12 clean sheets. This team has been a powerhouse, and yet they were in second. It wasn't until your end of season win against Jacksonville that they vaulted up to the number one seed. Like I said, it's a team you played before. Maybe you backed them into the number one seed. It does seeding in the end. You have to beat everybody, so it doesn't really matter. But I want to get more goal highlights. We love goals here in Soccer City, so let's talk about a brilliant masterstroke from you as a coach, because we're looking at your last matchup against Lexington, 72nd minute. What a freaking wonder strike from Emily Morris in, like I said, 72nd minute. Coach, you subbed her in just moments prior. She subbed in the 69th in a 0-0 match, scores a banger for what became the winner moments later. How does this make you feel as a coach? And can Emily George get a start against Lexington this time? I mean, what the hell, I mean, Emily Morris, excuse me.
Yeah, Emily's a kid who's from the Carolinas too, right? Like Rock Hill, South Carolina, local product. So really happy for her. But I'll tell you how good of a coach I am, right? Is all season I've been saying, Emily, stop smashing them as hard. Just hit the target. You don't have to smash it. And then sure enough, she smashes this one. I'm like, Emily, keep smashing them. Keep smashing them. So she took her chance well. Good, great goal. In this game, we missed the penalty. We really kind of had some great chances, and this is the one we take. So Emily done great. Great touch, ball out of her feet, and look, just a good strike, good finish. And she's so capable of that. But again, my brilliant coach was saying, Emily, you don't have to smash everything you hit. Let's hit the target. And she smashes one and scores a great goal.
Yeah, well, the advice changes based on the results, obviously. I mean, that's just kind of the way it goes. And credit to you for being adaptable, not being, stuck in your ways as a coach and things like that. So love to see a local Carolinas product doing well. Love to see a huge goal like that. Love to see the celebration. We talked earlier about the semifinal win. I just love to see some of the celebratory scenes that we saw here on Sporting Jacksonville's pitch. And always fun to celebrate on an opponent's pitch there. See a pretty good crowd. You see a lot of turnout. The match is on Peacock this Saturday. We're looking for a big audience. For any Carolina, hopefully we'll get some Carolina fans traveling up there. I don't know if you're expecting traveling support up to Kentucky, but I'm going to be watching on Peacock. I hope a whole lot of other people will. It's a big soccer weekend, and as we prepare for the World Cup, this is one of the last big competitive club soccer matches in the world before we go full-on World Cup mode, right?
Yeah, I think the plan is we're going to have a couple of buses of supporters going up. It's a great occasion for the fans. We have to approach it just, look, we're playing Lexington. Sometimes, teams have been guilty of playing the occasion, not the game. We are a game to play and an opponent to play. So yeah, there's a little bit more fanfare around it, a little bit more, a little bit more media, a little bit those type of things. But look, for us, it's a game. And look, what an amazing summer, right? To cap off the league season, to potentially, even think about bringing a championship back to Charlotte, and then to have the summer to watch 104 live games. My wife's going to be so proud of me that I'm going to sit there and probably have a few beers and watch TV for 6 straight weeks. That's what I plan on doing.
I mean, it sounds like you've earned it. Either way, whatever the result on Saturday is, you've certainly earned yourself a nice 6 weeks of World Cup beers. Hopefully, give me a call, Coach. I love World Cup beers too. You know me, you and Johnny will hang out. Johnny was hoping to be here today, and then a big project popped up at work. You know how that is. But what I'm hearing is from you, coaches, I keep trying to brag you up. I'm showing you the highlights of these goals. I'm telling you how brilliant you are as a coach. I'm telling you what a master stroke it was to go insert City into the goalkeeper spot. But all you're saying is, oh yeah, we missed a penalty. Oh, we hit the crossbar. You're just you're focused on like the things that could be better, the things you could do better. Total coach mentality. I love it going into a championship match. But what have you learned about what? How are you a better coach now than you were when this franchise started up on the eve of potentially your first championship in the league?
Well, I think look, there'll be a lot of time for reflection and a debrief after the season. We'll dig deep, but I think where we sit right now, I can actually say we had some tough runs this year. At one point, we lost 3 games in a row. At one point, we started the season 5 without a win. We've got some draws. And I think in some of those moments, the easiest thing to do is to come in on a Monday and say, okay, we're going to change this. She's not good enough. Let's go and sign a new this. Let's do that. I think that's the easy thing. I think sometimes the hard thing is to say, no, this is who we are. This is what we've built. This is the identity we want to portray. And it's a quote I stole from Roberto Martinez. I'd rather die on my feet than walk on my knees. So if who we are and what we do is not good enough, that's on me, and that's the responsibility of head coach and general manager, and I'll accept that. But I think the easiest thing to do in those tough moments would have been to pivot and change. The harder thing to do is to say, no, this is who Carolina Ascent are. This is what we do, and this is how we do things. And to have the trust of the players, to have a great staff to work alongside, to have a great ownership group in front office. Look, the first team have to win games for the rest of the club to work, and you feel pressure when you don't win games because you can sell more tickets, you can bring in more corporate sponsorships, you can do things. So you feel pressure when your team's not winning, and that's in those moments you've got to double down and you've got to decide, okay, who are we and what are we doing? Because I think in business and life, to change every Monday and to change direction and to change course, you get lost. And I think for us, one of the hardest things to do is say, no, we believe in our players, we believe in what we do, I believe in my staff, and I believe in our club and our ownership. So we're going to stay the course, and we're not going to pivot, and we're going to, again, if we have to die, we're going to die on our feet, not on our knees. So I'm proud of everyone for putting us in this position, but we have a lot of work to do. We know we've got to continue to move forward in this game on Saturday. But I'd say that's a big lesson for me, Brams, is saying, look, at the end of the day, you have to stand for something and commit to something. It would have been easy for us to bail on it. We did the hard thing instead.
Now, when you're doing the same thing and the results are different, how hard is it to stay the course? Like when you're in the midst of a losing streak versus now you're in a win streak, 12 unbeaten versus 5 without a win. You say you didn't change anything. You continue to do the same thing. When the results are different, what's the challenge with staying that course?
So I think part of my job is to create clarity and certainty in how we play. So I think when you go into any task, again, football, life, business, is when you're clear on what's expected and what's asked of you, then you can perform. And I think sports are a funny thing, right? None of us have sports figured out, right? Tiger Woods at his peak, the Lakers, Real Madrid, none of us have sport figured out. And that's why it's addictive, and that's why we love it. Is sometimes it goes your way, there's a bounce, there's a referee call, there's whatever it may be. And I think, honestly, sometimes you have to step back and say, okay, let's have a real look at where we are. And then you bring some data into it where, hey, we're having 25 shots on goal. We're creating this many chances. The XG is this. We're not really conceding too many chances, yet they've scored and we've lost 1-0. So I think sometimes between trusting in your people around you, really kind of having a deep dive into saying, okay, where are we right now, as opposed to how does it feel right now? So I think those are some of the things that help you make that decision. And losing and grey cloud feels like crap, right? And I think that's sometimes you take the feeling and the emotion out and you say, okay, let's really look at where we are. Let's look at how things are going. And even in the worst runs we've had, I'm standing in front of a team and an organization saying, listen, this too shall pass. You can't have 25 shots on goal and concede 3 and keep losing games. Yeah, you lost the game, no problem. It's what you take from it. It's what you learn from it. There's no losing if you learn. And I know that's a coachy quote, but it's the same in business. It's the same in your walk of life, my walk of life, sports, whatever it may be. So I think there's no losing, there's learning. And I think to take the emotion out and look, here's where we truly are and here's how the picture truly looks, it can give you the confidence to stay the course.
Excellent. What a great mentality to be taking into a championship match. Like I said, you're focused. I'm sure you've got your players focused. We hope to see more bangers. Let's look at this goal one more time just because it's absolutely just amazing. Shout out Emily Morse. If she can do this again versus Lexington, everyone will be screaming her name here back in Charlotte, watching on Peacock. And then when we do the parade down Elizabeth Street, hopefully next week, right after the Arsenal parade in London. So, yeah.
You know what? As long as it involves World Cup and beers, we can do 2 or 3 parades this summer. So I'm down.
Excellent, Philip. Thank you so much for joining us. Good luck on with safe travels to Lexington. We'll all be watching, like I said. Can't wait. Thanks for joining us. And we will. I guess we'll have to make this a standing thing. You know, it seems like it goes pretty well. And we'll get Johnny involved next time too.
Awesome. Hey, thank you very much. I can't tell you how much we appreciate you guys' support and what you guys do. And I love what you guys do. So thank you.
Excellent. For the climb, baby.